Welcome in, everyone, to another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a pretty amazing work of art, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Caspar David Friedrich's Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, this painting, it's iconic. And we've got a really cool collection of sources here to dig into. I think academic analyses, historical context, even some popular interpretations.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how this painting is talked about by different people.
Oh, absolutely.
And in different periods of time as well.
So the goal here is to try and unlock some of the secrets of this painting.
Yeah.
And really understand, what makes it so captivating. What was Friedrich trying to say?
Right.
And why does this 200-year-old image, why does it still speak to us?
Well, I think what's so remarkable is that it is a portal to the Romantic era. In a way, but it also still speaks to our longings and our anxieties today.
Yeah, and that's a great point because you look at it and it is a beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
But there's so much more going on.
Right.
So let's talk about Caspar David Friedrich himself.
Okay.
Who was this guy? What kind of person creates these emotionally charged landscapes?
Well, he was a leading figure in German Romanticism.
Okay.
And he's known for really imbuing his landscapes with deep emotion and philosophical ideas. But it's also important to know about his life. He experienced a lot of personal tragedy.
Oh, really?
He lost his mother when he was young and a brother, and then another brother actually drowned.
Oh, my God.
Trying to save him from the same fate.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's really sad. And you can see how those experiences really impacted his outlook on life. And then you see it reflected in his art.
That was his name.
The themes of solitude, contemplation, the fleeting nature of life, the awe-inspiring power of nature. I mean, they all recur in his work.
Right.
And in a way, you can see how his landscapes become a mirror to the soul.
Yeah. It makes me think that he wasn't just interested in painting like a pretty scene, right?
No, not at all.
He was expressing something deeper about the human experience.
Yeah, he believed that art should evoke feelings, that it should prompt reflection, not just accurately depict something, which set him apart from a lot of his contemporaries who were more focused on realism.
Interesting.
So for Friedrich, the landscape was a vehicle for exploring profound ideas and emotions.
It seems especially relevant when we're talking about Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at that painting and it feels so symbolic.
Yeah.
It feels layered with meaning.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into the painting itself.
Okay.
What are we looking at here?
Okay. So imagine this, all right. A lone figure, back turned to us, standing on a rocky precipice, overlooking this vast landscape shrouded in fog.
Okay.
He's holding a walking stick. He's got this dark green coat that kind of blends into the scene. His hair's kind of reddish blonde, catching the wind. And it's a simple composition, but it draws you in immediately.
It's so interesting to me that we never see the wanderer's face.
Right.
It's like we're invited to take his place, to experience this through his eyes.
You got it. That's the brilliance of the Rückenfigure technique. So using a figure seen from behind.
Okay.
And that's how he pulls the viewer into the painting. It creates this shared experience. And it makes us contemplate, the scene as if we were standing there.
Wow.
On that precipice, Friedrich was very clever.
Yeah.
He uses this technique to connect us to the wanderer's emotional state.
So is this the Wanderer Friedrich himself?
Well, that's one of the big mysteries of this painting.
Okay.
Some scholars believe it could be a self-portrait. Some sources mention he had reddish blonde hair.
Right.
But others interpret it as a more universal figure.
Okay.
Representing every individual facing life's mysteries and challenges.
Yeah.
There's even speculation that he represents a fallen soldier, giving the patriotic sentiments of the time.
Oh, wow.
So it's really up for interpretation.
It's almost like that ambiguity is intentional.
Yeah.
Like we're not supposed to have a definite answer.
Right.
And that allows us as viewers to connect with it on a more personal level.
Exactly. I think the mystery surrounding the wanderer's identity just adds to the painting's allure. It invites us to project our own experiences, our own interpretations onto the canvas.
And then there's the fog.
Yes.
I mean, it's such a striking element.
Absolutely.
It's swirling around the mountains. It's obscuring the landscape.
Yeah.
It creates this sense of mystery, and the unknown.
Well, the fog is a powerful symbol in Friedrich's work.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of sources talk about it as representing the sublime,
Okay.
which was a really central concept to Romanticism.
Okay.
And it encompasses those feelings of awe and terror that are inspired by nature's vastness and power.
I could see that. It's like this tension between the solid figure of the wanderer and then this kind of ethereal, almost otherworldly fog.
Yeah.
Like he's standing on the edge of something vast and unknown.
Right.
And we're right there with him.
You've hit on a key element there. The fog isn't just a visual thing.
Okay.
It represents a conceptual and emotional space as well. If you think about the anxieties of Friedrich's time, the Napoleonic Wars, the rapid changes brought on by the Industrial Revolution, the questioning of religious beliefs, all of that created this kind of metaphorical fog in society.
So it's not just the fog in the painting, but the fog of like uncertainty.
Exactly.
In his era.
Yeah.
And that makes me think like, could we see that fog as resonating with anxieties that we have today? You know, things like climate change, political upheaval, the rapid pace of technology. Like, it feels like he tapped into something very timeless about the human experience, this feeling of confronting the unknown.
Absolutely. It really makes you think, like what would Friedrich's foggy landscapes look like today, you know? If he was painting now, what parts of modern life would he use to get that same feeling of unease and wonder?
It's a really cool thought. But going back to the actual painting itself, what stands out to you about how Friedrich put this scene together?
Yeah.
You know, the composition.
Well, look at where the wanderer is. He's practically in the center of the canvas. But his back is to us, right? He's the focus. But his face, his identity, it's hidden. It creates this sense of intimacy, but also distance at the same time. We're drawn to him, but we don't really know him. Yeah,
it's like he's inviting us on this journey, but we have to take it ourselves.
Right.
We only get a glimpse of his perspective, and then we have to fill in the rest, you know, bring our own experiences, emotions to it.
Yeah, and then look at the light and shadow. The way the light breaks through the fog, it illuminates those peaks in the distance, but the foreground is still in shadow, and that creates this sense of depth and mystery, like a path forward, but you can't see the whole thing.
Yeah, it really does emphasize that feeling of being on the edge of something so vast and unknown.
Right.
And it makes me think about the title, Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog.
Yeah.
It's not just describing the scene. It's like a metaphor for life.
It is.
You know, we're all wanderers in a way, trying to find our path, navigating through uncertainty.
That's beautiful. And I think it speaks to why this painting is still so powerful. It goes beyond its historical context and speaks to something fundamental about being human.
Yeah.
That search for meaning and purpose, you know, in a world that can be pretty confusing and overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've talked about the fog, we talked about the wanderer, but what about the rocks?
Yeah.
Underneath his feet? They feel significant too.
They do. They're solid, right? Unyielding. They represent that tangible world, the ground beneath our feet. But look how they jut out sharply. It creates a sense of instability, you know, precariousness.
Yeah.
Like the wanderer is perched right on the edge of this abyss.
Wow.
It symbolizes the risks and challenges we face in life.
Right. So the journey isn't always easy or straightforward.
No.
There are obstacles to overcome and choices to make, and this constant interplay between stability and uncertainty.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you easy answers or a clear destination.
Right.
It asks you to contemplate the journey itself, to embrace the mysteries and the challenges.
It's interesting how this painting has taken on a life of its own.
It really has.
Outside of the museum, you know?
Yeah.
It's become this cultural icon.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. Book covers, album art.
Yeah.
Even films and video games.
Right. It's like it taps into our collective unconscious or something.
Right.
It speaks to people from all walks of life.
It does.
Do you think that's because it captures something essential about the human spirit? That yearning for exploration, for self-discovery, for something beyond the everyday?
I think you might be right there.
Right.
And, you know, maybe its popularity has grown because the world has become even more complex and uncertain. Think about it. We're bombarded with information constantly. Things are always changing. Right.
And the wanderer, it offers this moment of quiet contemplation.
Yeah.
You know, this reminder to pause and reflect on where we fit in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's like a visual antidote to all the chaos of modern life.
It is.
And it makes me wonder, out of all the places Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog has shown up, Are there any examples that really stand out to you as particularly insightful or thought-provoking?
Well, the one that comes to mind is John Berger's book, Ways of Seeing.
Okay.
They use the painting for the cover.
Interesting.
And Berger, he explores how we look at images and interpret them, and how those interpretations are shaped by our social and cultural backgrounds.
That's such a good fit. It suggests that the wanderer, like all images, it's open to multiple interpretations.
Right.
It's not about one fixed meaning. It's a starting point for our own individual understanding.
Exactly. And it reminds us that art isn't passive.
Okay.
It's about actively engaging with it, asking questions, challenging assumptions.
And finding our own meaning in the works we encounter.
Yeah, it's really cool how the wanderer pops up in such different places.
It is.
You know, from academic books to pop culture. It's like it's become this universal symbol for all those feelings of awe and uncertainty and the search for meaning that we've been talking about.
I think that speaks to the power of art to go beyond time and cultures.
Yeah.
You know, Friedrich might not have even known, but he tapped into something so human with this painting.
It makes me wonder, did he have any idea that his work would have such a lasting impact?
Right.
Because he wasn't exactly a celebrity artist in his time, was he?
Not really, no. In fact, Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog, it was one of his later works, and it didn't actually become well known until after he died.
So how did a painting that was kind of overlooked during Friedrich's life become such a huge phenomenon?
Well, there were a few key moments. In the early 20th century, there was this renewed interest in Romanticism.
Okay.
And people started looking at Friedrich's work again with fresh eyes. Then in the mid-20th century, you had movements like existentialism and environmentalism. And they really embraced those themes that Friedrich explored.
Right.
Solitude, contemplation, humanity's relationship with nature.
So it's like the world finally caught up to Friedrich's vision.
Yeah, I think so.
And his work became relevant to a whole new generation who were wrestling with their own anxieties and questions about life.
Exactly. And then, of course, you can't forget the rise of mass media and the internet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, The Wanderer, it's been reproduced so many times.
I know.
It's everywhere, from art history textbooks to memes. It's become part of our visual language, you know?
Right. It's instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
And it just evokes so much.
And what's amazing is that it hasn't lost its power. Even though it's been reproduced and reinterpreted countless times, it still has that sense of mystery and allure. It still inspires awe and introspection.
Right.
And this feeling of connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. I think that's what makes art so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it can move us and challenge us and connect us across different times and cultures.
It's amazing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's your main takeaway? If you had to sum up the essence of Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog in one sentence, what would it be?
I think it's a reminder that the journey is often more important than the destination. You know, the wanderer, he embodies that spirit of exploration,
Right.
of embracing uncertainty and finding meaning in the process of discovering.
I love that. It's a reminder to embrace the fog, so to speak.
Yeah.
To face the unknown with courage and curiosity.
Right.
And to trust that the path, even if it's shrouded in mystery, it'll lead us somewhere worthwhile.
And to our listeners out there, if you ever get the chance to see Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog in person, do it. Stand in front of that canvas. Let yourself be transported to that rocky precipice. Feel the wind in your hair and gaze out at that endless sea of fog.
It's an experience you won't forget.
No, you won't.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Of course.
We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to seek out your own moments of contemplation and exploration.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep wandering.